And it's 45, 46 chance for... No, neither do I. No. Right, just talk a second. No, neither do I. No. Right, just talk a second. No, neither do I. No, I can't even hear you. Party settings. If it turns on your voice, share your voice allow.
Hello, mic check, 1 2. Mic check, 1 2. Mic check, 1 2. Hello, 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 hello.
Yeah, there we go.
Right, settings changed now.
Right. So it's a thing on your end for when others are streaming?
No, it was the party.
Ah.
And the actual Simplay stream party.
Right. Okay. Right. 5, 4, 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back live. Apologies for that. We are able to hear Dan now, we do believe. So please let us know in the party chat if you can hear Dan. Everything should now be good, gold and crisp. But yeah, PS5 edition, as we said, it's going to be a fantastic season. Me and Dan are going to be bringing you all the action. A 5-race calendar. We've got an early morning race today at Monza, before we then head to...
You were going to say Imola then, weren't you?
I was going to say Imola because that's the next track, which is going to be an absolutely fantastic race as well. We go back to Imola then for the second race of the season. All races are 1 hour long. That will be a normal midday sort of race. 11, 12 and 1. We then head back to Donington Park, which will be an evening race, a 6, 7, 8 p.m. race. Then we head to Snetterton. We've not done Snetterton yet on ACC, and we decided that one would be a night race, 10 p.m, 11 p.m, midnight. That should be fantastic in the night time, and we round off the season on the 17th of December at Silverstone with a midday race as well. That should be absolutely fantastic. Good evening in the chat to Dennis Newman Fury's granddad, Benedict Varga, as cars are completing laps. Let's go down to the number 512, which I believe is the leader. That is Sven, who's just been picked to pole by Porto. Can Sven find that 10th then as he comes towards the line? Is he going to get it? No, gains a bit of time but doesn't get enough. Car 69 is then next to the line. That is the Mutz Nuts. He does not get pole position. 186 of Wolfenator doesn't get pole. Fury, currently 8/10 of a second off the pole time at the moment. Can he get anything here? Or is it going to be third place on the grid? It is only going to be third place for Fury then. So it is pole position then for Porto on his first ever race here at Simplay Motorsports. That is 1 point. We also, Dan, this on the PS5 version, are able to see who gets fastest lap. So that should be an interesting one as well. Yeah, bringing the fastest lap point back.
I've missed that, I've missed that so much, the amount of times I've gone for fastest lap and you're not rewarded it to me. It's just outrageous.
Yeah, I bet.
But either way, I think definitely after Dean gets rid of a bit of his Big Mac, he might be flying his way to the top of the tables with his BMW McDonald's sponsorship. But nonetheless, you would find that BMW parked up in a McDonald's anyway. If you go to your local McDonald's, there's normally BMWs parked outside, the Chavmobile as you like to call it. It should be an interesting night worth of racing ahead of us, as I said, but none of you actually heard. But we got some new cars, new drivers, but Fury's up there once again at the top of the league, fighting with the big boys. And Joe does love a BMW, even though he's shamelessly not riding the M6 in the normal category.
Yeah, it is. He's not in the M6, and we pretty much get underway straight away here. DJ Phil and Alpha didn't make the start, so they've got to go from the pit lane. Good job, it's an hour's race. They get to pretty much go as soon as they can. in this qualifying session then is it's going to be green and go here in this one. The poll voted me for professional commentator. Of course it is. If you follow Simplay Motorsport or have been around long enough, you all know who has the job. Dan's obviously hopefully going to be working with us, but it's green and go for the first time in the PS5 season, and it's the McLaren and Ferrari looking out the front row. Joey just behind in that BMW, and we're all down towards the turn one, and it's always chaos at the first chicane here at Monza. Is it going to be chaos
today? There's contact
today?
at the back. There's contact. Daz Automatic and the Nuts and Smoky Devil all coming together, causing chaos towards turn one. But other than that, most drivers managed to negotiate turn one. But yeah, chaos between the back of the pack at the minute.
Chaos at the back
more
of
chaos.
the pack then. Where's the chaos?
Daz and Smoky Devil coming together once again, and looks like Daz has got major damage to the front of his McLaren, as does Smoky Devil to the rear of his BMW, and yeah, the back of the pack seems a bit chaotic.
Through the first sector, it is Porto from Sven, from Fury, Bernie Ernie in P4 with Tech Leader 5th, Wolfinator's up to 6th, Nuts is still in 7th place, Hypertech has crossed
Sven
the first
sending
sector
it in turn one.
Into P8 is Sven then looking at the first Lesmo. He's up the inside, coming through into Lesmo too. Sven having the inside line for the second Lesmo. Not really an overtaking opportunity. They still manage to go side by side. And now look who's come to join the party. It is Fury who's looking up that inside on his dashboard camera then. He's got past Porto, he looks like. He's now on the back of Sven. They're still all side by side. This is great racing as they come in towards the Ascari chicane for the first time. Fury backs out of it, and Porto looks like he's been able to keep hold of that position so far as they filter through Ascari. It is still Fury sat in third, but what a bit of action there, Dan. Down the straight, the top three all flying at the moment.
Yeah, definitely indeed, as they fly through Ascari, heading towards the Parabolica corner, as it used to be called, and we're still going to call it that. Fury's now sending it down the inside of Porto, but he can't quite get the job done. And Sven has a big moment, and he manages to catch the car and gets facing the right way. But once again, Fury exactly where he's always been most races, at the front and hounding the back of these new boys. But remember, lads, this is still an hour-long race as Porto sets fastest lap, obviously because of the start of the race. And Fury now looking to the outside as they head towards turn one.
Daz Automatic back in the pits then as he looks to the outside of turn one. Bernie Ernie's going to look up the inside of Sven into the first chicane, and Sven manages to keep it around the outside, makes the meso of the second part of it, has to go deep. Tech Leader's now going to look interested in this, starting to come in a bit of form at the moment in the Pro Series. Tech Leader all over the back, Wolfinator's back, moved to the afternoon shift, so it's great to see him out on the grid tonight, and he's looking good in the 992. Nuts, Hypertech's down in 8th, Cranky Duckhead in the Honda, Dean Wasoki's in the top 10 with Dean 3839, that's not going to get confusing this season. P11, P12 is PM Motorsport, Ema Kizzle's 13th, Smoky Devil 14th, DJ Phil 15th, Alpha Co down in 16th, the Daz Automatic back in the pits. But already at the front, it is McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, BMW, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Porsche top 6, and they're all in pretty close quarters as Nuts has actually got past Wolfinator as they come towards Sector 2 timing screen. Not sure where he's done that.
Wolfinator looked like he was coming back at him. They went through the second chicane, and that's where the Nuts got ahead of Wolfinator. He tried to tack him back into Lesmo 1, but couldn't quite get the job done. As Fury is now starting to lose touch on the McLaren ahead. He's still 4 tenths behind him. So normally the BMW is quite an all-rounder car, and it's all good pretty much most circuits. But here at Monza, you want a really small, sleek design car that can cut through the air quite quick, and that McLaren can do that. Especially the Lamborghinis usually tend to be quite good around here, as does the Audi, but not many of them here this evening. But it is the McLaren of Porto leading after a lap 2, but he's still got Fury hustling in behind.
It is a long race, a 1 hour race. That way BMW could grow into this. And Dan, we did a 4 hour race on the PC earlier this year, at Monza, and it was actually the Honda NSX Evo that won the race, so proving that the Honda's quite good and nimble around here. ACC, not like Project Cars, the balance of performance on the PS5, Xbox, the next-gen Xbox console and PC actually levels the cars off quite nicely. Lambo is apparently the stronger car in the Evo 2, not the Evo that DJ Phil is, and his Tech Leader really hassling the back of Bernie Ernie into the first chicane. Now
And we've lost Matt for a second because his mic's been disconnected. So Bernie Ernie's going to defend the inside of the Curva Grande. Around the outside comes Tech Leader in the Mercedes. A big grunty car as they make contact there. And they make contact again. And I think that's lag there. Bernie Ernie really lagging. He's taking all sorts of chaos. So 2 Porsches involved in now. Tech Leader's off. Now Hypertech works his way through, as does the Honda. But there's all sorts of chaos. And I think Bernie Ernie's lag there really put a lot of drivers off there.
Yeah, that did look like a lot of lag, so we're going to wait for them to come through the sector times. It is, though, Porto, who leads from Fury. Sven, we believe, has got away in third. Looking at the track map, it is Car 8 of Hypertech that has come away and will be in that P4 position. Mutsnuts and Tech Leader have had to return to the pits. We've lost a driver. That is Mutsnuts. He has got time to get back into the lobby and hopefully can get back in. So as they come through the second sector time, that's what we're going to wait for. Car 39 looks like he's off. That is Porto. No, must have just been the way that triangle is, not the circle for the leader on the track map. As they come to sector 2 then, Hypertech has gone into P4. Wolfenator stayed 5th, but what rear end damage does he have? The Cranky Duckhead's up 6th. Dan Dean Wasocki, well, he is loving it at the moment. He's running P7 with a mixture of grid. This is brilliant running for Dean Wasocki.
Yeah, definitely so. He's looking very good in the very greasy, sleek McDonald's BMW, working its way through Parabolica on his way to get himself a Happy Meal at the minute.
Was it the Alpine that Keegs was in the other day in GT4s? Was Burger King, wasn't it?
Yeah, Burger King.
And I'm sure there's a KFC liveried car somewhere in the pack as well. Not in the pack tonight, but in the roster.
Kentucky Fried Chicken and a pizza. McDonald's.
We get all the fast food liveries out there. It's PM Motorsport looking to attack the back of Dean. 3879, then it is Ferrari 296 versus Ferrari 296. The problem for Dean is he's got Daz Automatic coming out the pit lane and has had to yield the time to Pian as Daz was coming out the pit lane and Dean tried to defend the inside line. Daz now pulls right in front of Pian. DJ Phil coming onto the back of Ian McKizzle, so DJ Phil didn't go a lap down, just had start from the pit lane. He's about to put Ian McKizzle under some pressure into the first chicane in the Lamborghini Evo. Backs out of that one and lets McKizzle have the braking zone into turn 1, but she's gone deep, he's gone deep. And McKizzle rejoins the track at pretty much the point of entry. That's fair play from Ian McKizzle there. DJ Phil now does get through. Bernie Ernie in the pits, Tech Leader in the pits. Daz 2 laps down, and already Porto pulling a second and a half ahead of Fury, who's gapped Sven a little bit more. But Dean Wasocki now within 7/10 of the Cranky Duckhead. Dean fancies a top 6 here tonight.
There's going to be a rivalry that goes on for ages. Will be McKizzle versus DJ Phil. I think this is going to be going on for all 5 races. But either way, Dean Wasocki is on the move to try and work his way past the Honda. Can he find any way through as he head up towards Ascari? Meanwhile, Wolfenator is looking to the outside of Hypertech, going into Ascari, and in the Porsche 992. And what a car is that Porsche 992? If I was racing in PS5, that would what I'd be in.
I'm surprised he's not struggling more. He had a massive wallop from Tech Leader on the rear end of that car. You see the state of that car. And yeah, he had a massive wallop. But either way, he's still going pretty well. Now, on the pit window front, there is a mandatory pit window, but you just have to
Fury,
pit.
fastest lap of the race.
He has just done the fastest lap of the race. Apparently, you just have to pit. So there is no change tyres. You just have to pit. I'm looking at Dean Wasocki's stream, who's the first one I've pulled up. It is just you have to pit. So there is no tyre change, nothing. We cannot set that through the invite-only column. Obviously, this is all a test running for next season. Tech Leader still in the pit, so Wolfenator will score 0 points tonight if he doesn't come back in the lobby. And, Mutsnuts will score 0 points tonight. If he doesn't get back in the lobby.
That's a great way to start your season, isn't it?
Yeah. 1 hour race.
Yeah, 1 hour race. Anything can still happen. Other cars have damaged, other cars are struggling, and off you go. A good start to your season. So, anything can still happen in sim racing. Everyone knows this, and even in normal racing as well. But we'll see how the rest of these guys get on, because the ones who are still in this race are still have an opportunity to win this race. Everyone can still win this race, no matter what happens. As I'm watching Dean Wasocki, he's had a moment in the second chicane, goes a little bit wide and touches the gravel. He's now starting to be hunted down by PN Motorsport, but most of the gaps are all spread out except for the fight between the Green Wolfenator and Hypertech. That is very close, and the Porsche is very good in the corners but struggles in a straight line, and this is where the Ferrari will gain its advantage, as the Mutsnuts has returned back into the session.
There we go. Clearly not done.
Not allowing me to go on to him in a minute, but he'll be on the leaderboard.
Back in. That's why at the moment, as Wolfenator there has to cut part of his score. It looked like he had a big wiggle coming through. And no, he's somebody's gone. Mutsnuts still coming in, but we've lost 2 drivers now. Yeah, we've actually lost 2 drivers. Not sure who the other driver is we've lost. Sven now does the fastest lap of the race. So Sven pumping in the fastest lap, and Fury's within 6/10 of the leader. That doesn't look 6/10 anymore though, Dan. He's right on the back of the leader. Maybe as it just opens up through the acceleration out the first chicane.
that was a very sloppy turn one for Fury there. He missed pretty much every apex, and it just gave him a really poor exit. And that's the problem with this M4. You really need to use its traction to gain the best out of it. That McLaren is going to be very sleek in a straight line and very good on this downforce. So it's going to be good in the corners. So Fury's got to make sure that his traction is spot on, because you see there the McLaren just twitching on the exit of that second chicane, and Fury now is getting closer, but not quite close enough. That McLaren will be much faster in a straight line.
It will be much faster in a straight line, that is for sure. That is indeed as well. One thing that is going to happen is that McLaren faster in a straight line, but the BMW will be better through the corners than the McLaren, especially as the fuel load comes off. I do notice with that BMW M4, you have a sort of strange period with it as the fuel load starts to come off, that you struggle with the car a little bit. I wonder if Fury's had that moment and is now coming back through the pack. It is Bernie Ernie that we have lost from the race, as well as the Mutts Nuts, so hopefully they get back in the lobby. Daz within 347 seconds of tech leader. Not sure what that gap will be now because of the fact he has been in the pits, but Fury definitely started to put the pressure on Porto a little bit, and Sven setting the fastest lap. That is an interesting one to watch as Wolfenator looks to the outside of Ascari. Hypertech's gone a little deep. Wolfenator will not want a second invitation. Thank you, Mama, for the carrots. P4.
The stream's just a little bit blurry at the minute, so hopefully Matt can sort that out, as the McDonald's man has just had a moment through Ascari. That's going to allow PN Motorsport to have a look on the inside, heading down towards Parabolica. Ferrari versus BMW, and PN gets that job done relatively easy, but Dean could run round the outside. He's going to give it a go, but too late to do so now, as he'll try and get a good exit and try and attack into turn one. Meanwhile, the gap is back to half a second to the front of the pack between Porto and Fury, but now we're starting to see the gaps come closer and starting to see some scraps going on.
Yeah, we are starting to see some scraps go on as well, and from Porto they're getting a pole position for the McLaren. That gives once more another pole position to that McLaren, which gives it its 52nd pole position
BMW
here.
off.
Who is it?
BMW off. That was Smoky Devil in turn one. He was coming up to the back of Daz Automatic, looking like he's trying to put a lap on him, and just got onto the grass and the boards and straight on at turn one. And Daz Automatic, I'm not sure, possibly just hindering him a little bit, but even though Smoky Devil went off there, as E. McIzzle started to cut some pressure off the Aston Martin behind her.
She is indeed, and so we drop down to it. It's the Aston Martin of Alpha. And yeah, like we say, McLaren's 52nd podium here at Simplay Motorsport. Obviously, in all total of GT3 racing, we do have separate stats for the Formula 1 that we have done, but it is all GT3 and GT4 GT category racing that we do. It is its 52nd pole position, and it'll be looking to get yet another race win. But Fury, I've noticed, Dan has taken the fastest lap back away from Sven. So Fury starting to charge forward a little bit. Dean's trying to put pressure back on PN Motorsport. He's got Daz right behind him trying to unlap himself, and Dean at the minute just dropping down to P8, but still a strong race at the moment for Dean, as he looks a little twitchy through the Ascari chicane. Cranky Duckhead as well is gaining a little bit on that of Hypertech. The interesting one for me is Green Wolfenator, yet to really seem like he's struggling, even though he took a massive whack on the rear end of that car.
Yeah, I've just gone on to drive so I can see the boys' lap time, and to be honest, Porto has been doing a 48.0 was his best, and he's just been within 0.2 off of that last lap. Meanwhile, Fury has done the fastest lap of a 48.0, but his last lap was a 49.2, sorry.
Oh,
so
sorry, Dan. I've just seen Hypertech tumble down the standings as everybody's crossed the start line.
He's got front end damage.
He's got massive front end damage.
Last lap 2:07 as well.
Yeah, that is interesting then, because he's got such front end damage here. He's had a massive moment off that he's now tumbled behind Cranky Duckhead, PN, Dean and Smokey. I thought Duckhead had caught him pretty quickly. Well, he's not just caught him, he's passed him. Well, he's now got the other Dean gaining on him.
Daz Automatic is pushing Dean at the minute as they head towards the second chicane. Daz obviously got a lot more pace than Dean at the minute, but it's just putting Dean off ever so slightly, and it's not really helping Dean Wasaki out. This is going to invite Smoky Devil to get a little bit closer. If I was Dean, I'd be letting Daz go, get him out of your way. Clearly got more pace, but he's now got to prove that he has got better pace and disappear as Dean's really struggling. Obviously those tyres have got really hot now and possibly just got a little bit dirty as well, allowing Daz Automatic to go through. But that's all that's done. It's just allowed Smoky Devil to get right on the rear wing of Dean Wasaki as head towards Ascari.
Here they do head down towards Ascari. Smoky Devil's going to look to the outside line of Dean Wasaki. It's BMW versus BMW. Smoky loves a BMW. Dean's going to try and hold that inside line for the first part of Ascari. Oh, just taps the sausage curbs and taps Smoky Devil. And him and Dean massively into the wall. That is big damage for both BMW M4s. And this could play big dividends for the other Dean. Now, bearing in mind, the pit stop only has to be in and out. There is no set mandatory time. And there is no set tyre change or anything. So they could technically pit now and get their damage out the way and not lose too much time in the actual pit stops. As Alpha's back on the rear end of Emma Kizzle, she also looks like she got front end damage.
Yeah, she had damage very much earlier on in the race, and they're still having troubles with that car. But if all comes in line, Matt, it's going to be DJ Phil who's going to be the biggest benefit out of this. Dean continues on. Smokey's straight into the pits. Hypertech still got damage. Dean's got a little bit of damage as well. And DJ Phil has got a perfectly clean car. So, if anything, DJ Phil might be looking at a possible P7 because he's been keeping his nose clean.
Well, Smoky Devil straight into the pit lane to get that done. Dean's coming down. DJ Phil as well. The other Dean could be in for a decent result here at the moment as well, so we need to make sure that we obviously get the points up to date properly. So Muchnuts hasn't returned in, neither did Bernie Ernie. So that is a no score for them two, unless they do come back into this one. But yeah, already we're seeing drivers just start to struggle. And Dan, with 43 minutes left of this race, drivers making mistakes really and going for moves that they don't really need to go for at this stage of the race.
No, definitely not. This is just round one, lap one. People making silly moves and silly attacks, and it's just getting themselves in trouble. Smokey's still in the pits, and it's an hour-long race at the end of the day. You've got a long time. People could get themselves into a groove. Strategies can play into the racing as well, and it's just learning to give the respect and space, really, because if these cars were real when we were racing with them, it would be a very expensive night's worth of racing right now.
Yeah, some of them still wouldn't be out on the track. They'd be retired from the race. Azima Kizzle has been passed by Alpha Co CB, although he's gone very wide through the first Lesmo, rejoins back onto the track safely. And McKizzle looking up inside at the second Lesmo, but that front end damage seems to be hurting her at the moment. The bonus for her is they're both ahead of Smoky Devil, and they're well in front of Daz and Tech Leader because the laps that they are down, 3 to 4 laps down on the leaders. If we go to the timetables at the moment, just to take a look at who's on what laps, we see there, look, that
Dean's in.
Daz is on 6 laps, Tech Leader's on 5 laps, the leaders are on 9, as Dean Wasaki pits then from where he's positioned on the track. And we look at Fury, currently 1.5 off. His best is a 1:48.050. His last time was a 1:48.9. So try and stay within that 48 seems to be the position at the moment. PM, though, gaining on the cranky duckhead. He's got Daz trying to unlap himself.
Well, Dimasaki is currently in the pits, and there's all sorts of chaos in turn 1. DJ Phil's off. And Hypertext is involved in that as well, as is the other Dean, and there's cars everywhere in turn 1.
And we've just seen PN bunny hop over the second part of the second chicane and into the gravel trap. I'm not sure if he hit the wall, but that has put to bed any challenge on the cranky duckhead at the moment. But right, so we've got the other Dean, we've got Hypertech, we've got DJ Phil all involved in an incident. Tech Leader's in the middle of that trying to unlap himself. Absolute crazy scenes at the moment in this race. There is a yellow flag. It's Dean Wasaki who's causing the yellow flag apparently in the pit lane. So I'm not sure if that's what that's about, but yeah, can't be yellow flag while he's in the pit lane. He's well off track.
I think with this issue with Deans, I think we need to just start calling Dean Wasaki the Wasaki and just Dean. I think that's an easier way of putting it. But yeah, I think PN thought that his Ferrari was a bit of a DeLorean and thought he could get it off the ground and fly back to the future. But you know, not quite the right car there, Phil. But either way, he's got himself going again. Got away with minimal damage there, but. It's just all kind of strung out a little bit. These guys just making their own silly errors. Fury's now suddenly come back at the McLaren, but he's not quite close enough. A drive, stop and go for Dimasaki, speeding in the pit lane. So that's really going to hurt his race as well. 30 seconds.
Monza as well is one of them that really, you know, is on the limit to get right. And Dean there got it horribly wrong. So he's got a stop-go penalty. He's just been lapped by PN Motorsport out there on the track as well. So Dean's damage is fixed. It wasn't actually that long a stop for Dean, but he's probably got a longer stop now with the fact that he's got to do his stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He did get passed by Ian McKizzle and everybody. Hypertech now can't deal with the damage. He's in. Do you know the worst thing for Hypertech is? I think in this hour race with a I believe it's a 20-minute pit window, I believe the pit window is going to open in 18 seconds.
Yeah, definitely so.
And with you just having to stop, you know, and splash and dash, really, if you will, for the pit stop, he could have probably done his damage in that.
I mean, if you're that far down and you know you're still struggling with the car, you might as well just try and limp it to that window. You know, if it's still doable and drivable, there you go. The pit window has opened, so Hypertech could have done one lap and survived. But and the same with Dean Masocki, he could have done possibly 2 more laps. Yeah. Now all these guys have to do is come into the pits. Now Fury has brought that gap down to 0.8 of a second to the leader, or Porto, in the McLaren, and as you can see, the top 4 cars are all separated by brand new cars as well. Yeah. The Evo McLaren, the BMW M4, the Porsche, the Ferrari 279, I believe it is, and the Porsche 992. Oh, sorry, 296. I'm not a big Ferrari fan, so I don't know the Ferrari names. So
5 different manufacturers as well in the top 5 positions there, with the Honda running in P5. Obviously, we know the Honda's not...
It's no Jag, though, is it?
It's no Jag like Nexus is driving, but we speak of
Fury. Fury's right on the rear wing.
Yeah, current GT4 leader in that championship with yourself, Dan, and he's been in a bit of form recently in the GT3s. I don't think he was there Thursday night, but he's been in a bit of form in GT3s on the Pro Series. He's now trying to prove his worth here and take another championship. 4 championships to his name already. He's looking for a 5th in the GT4s. Could this be championship number 6? Call yourself and become a 6-time champ. Dean's in for his stop-go penalty, but again, look, you see the sleekness of the McLaren just edge away a little bit down towards the Ascari chicane, and is Fury now, who looks like he's able to ride the curbs a lot better. Porto just taking to the gravel a little bit through the middle part of Ascari. Does this give Joe the run that he needs? Down the back straight towards the Parabolica. Fury right in the slipstream. I believe that's Ian McKizzle, who's a back marker just in front. Fury pulls out to the inside line now. Does the M4 have the legs? He's up the inside, and he takes the lead of the race. But who is going to pit where? As Ian McKizzle stays to the inside line of the Parabolica. Joe now leads the race, Dan. Good move from the M4 driver.
Yeah, using the traffic to his advantage, but now he has traffic himself as he comes up to the back of the Aston Martin. So we'll see how he fares with the traffic his end, but the McLaren of Porto will be wanting to pressurise that BMW and force a mistake out of him. But once again, Fury may not be the fastest on one lap, but he certainly knows how to do it in race trim, and that's why he's won multiple championships here in Simplay Motorsport. Still trying to get his pro championship under the bag, but nonetheless, he's very good at those support championships.
I can't remember if I said it to PN Motorsport on GT4 commentary that he does seem to be better in these support races. Now, obviously, this isn't a proper category of pro. Obviously, it's a very mixture of a grid, as he really has to avoid the Aston Martin there to put a lap on it through the second chicane. But it's a championship nonetheless, and he does enjoy these sorts of support side series races.
Sven's into the pits, by the way, so he's getting his pit stop done and dusted. But yeah, I think the thing with Fury is it's a spread of drivers. You know, he seems to be able to take it one by one, but when there's a group of like top drivers, I think it's difficult for him to be really on the top of the caliber. And I think he's shown that he could go wheel to wheel with all the best drivers. I think he just needs to put it all together, and he could definitely be a threat for any championship there. He just needs the right car, the right time, and then when he puts the effort in it, it's just like Keegs. When they both put the time and effort into it, they are easily one of the best drivers at Simplay Motorsport.
And Lucas Roth, Keegs, aka Keegs, will be on the grid hopefully next time out. Hopefully he'll be back for the GT4s tomorrow night as Dean's coming under pressure in his Ferrari. Now, he's had to race on the pad tonight. His Thrustmaster give up on this morning, apparently. He's got a new one on order that is coming. Car 82. That is Ian McKizzle. Stop, go penalty for her. But she has done her pit stop. Dean under pressure, though, at the minute from DJ Phil. And where's Wakasaki? He's down in P13. I think we'll call it, Wakasaki and Dean. Quite like that. Dean.
The McLaren's looking at Fury. Porto was looking into turn one. He got a great run out of Parabolica and got right on the back of Fury and had a sniff of an opportunity, but thought better of it and think he could wait a better time. If I was in that McLaren right now, I'd be opting to look at possibly the undercut right now.
Yeah, looking at the undercut, looking at the track map, the car that's in front of them is Ian McKizzle again after her pit stop. She's got to do a drive-through, so Fury and the McLaren. Both have a bit of clear track. They've got McKizzle at the second chicane, and then the Lesmo, so they might catch her on the back straight. It all just depends at the minute. We're watching DJ Phil, who's flashing his lights to Dean here, and it's a bit more obvious the lights flash. Also, if drivers have auxiliary lights, we can see them on the cars a bit more this season as they all work on the PS5. DJ Phil to the outside of Ascari on Dean, though. Is he going to get the job done around the outside? At the minute, he has the inside for the second pod. I tell you what, DJ Phil, that's a great move. Who yesterday, 2 years ago yesterday, DJ Phil took a double win at Monza back in the first ever season of Simplay Motorsport in the AM. Sorry, 3 years ago yesterday. In the Pro-Am category, he took a double win at Monza in the rain. He's now moved himself up into P6. Although Dean's looking back at him, Tuck's back in behind. Thinks better of that one for the time being. No other drivers yet coming into the pits. And if we look at Fiori, I think he's just putting a lap on Ian McKizzle on the back straight. And there is just a little bit of daylight between him and Porto, Dan, as they come towards the Parabolica for the 13th time. Still just over half an hour left in this race as Hypertech now comes in for his stop.
Yeah, Porto had a little bit of a moment going into the entry of Ascari. The rear end wasn't too happy, and I think he tried carrying a bit too much speed into it. And obviously that BMW is very planted and a very good car in those high-speed corners to medium-speed corners. So it was very stable, when the McLaren was just arguing with its rear tyres and wasn't 100% sure if Porto could handle that grip. And Fury managed to just eke out a little bit of a gap, but Porto's right on the rear and misses his brakes.
Yeah, misses his brakes, didn't get the car stopped. He did very well to not go into the back of Fiori there. He did very well. He's lost a lot of time, though, now. Sven, let's not forget, was the early pitter out of all these drivers. He was the man who stopped first as the track is optimum. It's only 15 degrees track temp, let's not forget. We're in the winter months, so the track is quite cool. And at the minute, Sven doing the job he needs to do in terms of gaining them places and gaining that time while Fiori and Porto battle. I'm really surprised we've not seen Wolfenator into the pitch yet.
Well, Sven's on his own at the minute. He's minding his own business, and you know, he's doing the lap times he needs to do. I've just gone on board with him, so he's done a 2:48.8. Obviously, that was his out lap. So we'll see what this lap will be when he comes towards the line now. But yeah, Wolfenator, I think again he thinks he's relatively comfortable, happy where he is, and isn't minding his own business. A 46.9 is what. Sven's done, but obviously again that's another outlap, so he's been in and out, and obviously the outlap is a little bit shorter, so he's on the move. He's looking to try and catch the two in front of him while using the clean air.
Tech leader 24 seconds behind Daz as Daz went through the next sector time just after that. He's down in last place at the moment and 15th so far, so he's got work to do from down the order a little bit, but it's great to see these drivers out there tonight and competing once again. It's nice to see some of the newer cars on display tonight.
It's nice to see some decent cameras for once.
Yeah, it is.
But PN's looking to the inside of Alpha into Parabolica, but thought better of it. Wasn't quite far enough alongside. Porto's had a moment somewhere. He's now 2 seconds off Fury, so he seems to be struggling in the Lesmos and the Ascari section, and I think Fury's just able to keep it more balanced and under control. So we'll see how he gets on. But Alpha is still trying to hold up PN as much as he possibly can. But both on different strategies at the minute. And PN's got his pit stop done and out the way. He's now got to try and clear the traffic and see where it could get him.
Indeed he has. He's got to clear that traffic. He knows that Dean, DJ Phil and Alpha have all got to pit in front, and he'll be looking for possibly a top 6 on his first PS5 race in that Ferrari. You see the orange auxiliary lights of PN on the front of his car through the grille of that Ferrari 296 as Green Wolfenator now Dan decides to pull into the pit lane. McKizzle still got to get her stop go penalty done, otherwise that will be disqualification for her and no points. Smoky Devil trying to put a lap on her in his BMW M4. Through he comes, but it is PN at the moment that is really close to Alpha. And let's talk about Alpha a second, Dan. Obviously, new driver, we don't know much about him, but choosing the Aston Martin V8. Now, with all the cars that's out there, one we don't see is the Lambo Evo 2. The other one we haven't seen yet is the Audi Evo 2. We believe McKizzle's going to get the DLC pack tomorrow to drive the Evo 2. She thought she had it and doesn't. The Aston V8, is that a surprise we're seeing that car on this grid?
Not necessarily. The Aston's still a relatively good car. Obviously, it's well balanced. It's easy to drive, and obviously, like you said earlier on, the PS5 and the PC and even the Xbox One versions. No, not Xbox One. The Xbox Series X. They're all relatively even and balanced out. So you can even add ballast to some of these as well. So you can slow down the better drivers. Fury's into the pits, by the way. But the Aston is still a relatively good car, unless you can get it hooked up and set up correctly. The Aston is still a very good car in the right hands, as you see there. PM Motorsport going around the outside of Alpha, and Alpha looks like he's coming into the pits to serve his pit stop. I was going to say penalty then, but I saw myself.
He is indeed. To PM 28 seconds behind. Dean Wolfenator has come out P6, so only DJ Phil the car ahead of him, although, DJ Phil and Dean, because now the time screen's update once more. He's P7. PM didn't get past him. Fury, though, is now into the box for his stop, so it's going to be interesting to see what his stop is. Obviously, it is just an in and out the pits. No need for all the changing of the tyres or anything. Well, I wonder if Joe is changing his tyres, because that seems a pretty long stop at the moment for Joe. We're at the halfway mark of the race. Alpha in the pits.
I'll tell you what, my father would be loving this race right now. Kelly Davis would be sitting there going, I'm going out there and I'm just going to stick to just, the same old tyres and try and look after them.
Yeah. He would as well.
That's what he would well. Indeed. That's,
try and be
Sven has jumped Fury.
Yeah, he has just jumped Fury. So I wonder if Fury's stop was a little long. Not sure why.
And Fury has got
Fury's actually been jumped as well by Cranky. I nearly said Cranky Duckhead there.
Cranky Duck.
Cranky Duckhead has got ahead and split Sven and Fury. Now Fury still has the fastest lap of this race. The Honda's yet to pit. Fury's going to try and clear this Honda as quick as possible. Nice decal on the Honda there. Michael will be enjoying that one.
He's gone and laid his eggs and got himself ahead of Fury, and away he goes. But Cranky Duckhead probably sitting there thinking, I'm not going to let you through. I'm going to hold you up. And Fury will be getting frustrated at the minute, and he'll want to clear this Honda as quickly as possible. But he has every right to fight him, and he's going to fight him. And Fury's to the inside of Lesmo 2, and he's got the job done, and through he goes. So did Cranky Duckhead push that a little bit further than he needed to, or as he just managed? Possibly so. Sven, meanwhile, is probably thinking, thank you, Cranky. I will disappear into the distance now, as Porto is into the pits.
Porto is into the pits. Fury's up to P3. McKizzle's in for a stop-go. Tech Leader's just done his stop. So it is just Cranky, Dean, DJ Phil, Smoky Devil, Dean Wasocki, and Daz Automatic left to do their pit stops. But Porto still not yet to move at the moment. And Sven is coming up towards the Parabolica. The bonus is for Porto is he is pretty much towards the end. Now there was a spinner. There was a yellow flag. That is why stop-go cleared for Ian McKizzle. It was Hypertech who was so far off at the Parabolica. He stays off track while he gets lapped by Fury and other drivers. Porto is now away off his limiter. Now Sven is going to lead this race. Did the Cranky Duckhead just do enough to put Fury off on that pit lane? And it was, because Porto stays in front. Fury's got a lot of work to do once again. Still though, Dan, 27 minutes left in this race.
Sorry, I'm just going to look back. I think Porto crossed the white line.
Yeah, I think he did.
Pit line on pit exit. There's a reason why there's a white line there, not to get in the way of the traffic. And I think he crossed it. I will get confirmation on that though. But it is one of the rules here at Simplay Motorsport. You can't cross that white line, and it is a slam dunk if you do so. And we've just caught that, I think.
I believe so. We'll have to have a look back on the stream. I mean, Joe may want to put that one in anyway in case he doesn't get this race win, because we know that Joe will be wanting to win the race or get as high a position as he possibly can. That is for sure.
Yep. Slam dunk. He's crossed the white line.
Yeah, there we go then.
Helicopter cam shows it perfectly, and like I said, it doesn't matter what league or championship it is.
No, yeah, rules are rules. The rules are the same rules for every single event we do here.
It is indeed.
So possibly a slam dunk there for the Cranky Duckhead. For the Porto. And who's that? Who's that?
Fury's at a moment with E. McKizzle. E was right on the exit of Ascari, and Fury's ended up in contact with her. And Fury
was ahead of Porto there.
Yeah, he was. Again, I'm not sure exactly what happens. Replay is going to help me out here. So I'm going to find out exactly what's happened.
Halfway through Ascari. I'm just looking on Joe's stream. Oh, she's had a wiggle on the end, and Joe's got such a run through and it's just driven straight into the back of her. Right, Dean has done his stop. Dean Wysocki is in. Daz is also in. So DJ Phil now running in P4. He's ahead of Wolfenator. Cranky Duckhead, by the way, has came out the pits behind PN Motorsport. So PN's running P6. Potential for PN to be P5 in this race. Smoky Devil's yet to pit as well. But for Fury, he has got huge damage due to a backmarker. This could give Sven the race win here for that Ferrari.
Yeah, it's looking more and more his way at the minute. The replays on this are pretty atrocious, so I don't actually know what happened. But yeah, Fury on the other hand is got damage to his car, and probably not in the way he would want damage, but yeah, that Ferrari's looking more and more comfortable now. And like I said, it doesn't matter what position you are in, as long as you have a relatively clean and straightforward race, you can gain no matter what happens. And exactly this is what happened. And the man who's also looking quite good for good points now is probably DJ Phil, who's now in the pits. He's P4 at the minute, whereas Wolfenator, he's only now gone through turn 1. So he'll update. There goes PN. DJ Phil's not been dropped yet.
No. So Wolfenator's through, PN's through, Cranky's through, Dean is a Tascari. So Dean's not yet close enough at the moment to make a difference so far.
DJ Phil's gone green. He's
right,
gone
yeah,
green,
so
so Dean won't get near him.
No, so DJ Phil's going to come out P6. P6. No, sorry, 7th. Yeah, Cranky Duckhead has got past. Dean Wysocki came out the pits. He is P12. Daz come out the pits. He's P14. He's probably going to stay P14 for the rest of the evening. But yeah, that is an interesting one at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see there who can do what.
Fight should be interested between PN and Cranky Duckhead. I think Cranky Duckhead is faster than PN Motorsport, so we could see the Honda coming back at the Ferrari later on. Wolfenator has pretty much had an incredibly lonely race.
Who's number 12? Who's car 12 here? No, it's 32, sorry, apologies, it's 32. It's Dean Wysocki who's had a big moment at Ascari. I thought it said 12, but it's 32. He's in the wall. He's slow, not rejoining the circuit, and that could be big damage for Dean Wysocki here in this race. Due to the retirements as well, that will be a qualifying ban next week for the Mutts Nuts and for Bernie Ernie in this first race. Remember that drivers are to serve their ban. Smoky Devil, by the way, 3 minutes left of the pit window, is the only driver yet to pit.
And I don't really think it's helping him at the minute. If anything, Alpha will get ahead of him, as will Hypertech most likely. So Smoky Devil here really leaving this very... sorry, Hypertech won't get him, but Alpha will. So I think Smoky's strategy here hasn't really worked his wonders, because he's trying to find a way through Dean.
Damage.
He did, yeah, but now he's trying to find a way past Dean, and Dean is... he's done his pit stop, so if anything, Dean doesn't have to fight him. He could just let him go if need be.
Dean Wysocki returned to the garage. He couldn't drive the car back. I've just looked onto his stream. I've got 4 streams open next to me. Dean's controls are locked for 8 minutes. That's how bad the damage was.
Wow.
So big one there.
Indeed, it was. Smoky Devil has to pit either this lap or next lap now. He can't leave it any longer.
No, he can't. He can't leave it
He chooses to carry on.
He does choose to carry on. Right, what lap is Daz and Tech Leader on? Let's take a look at this. So Daz is on lap 16. He's on the same lap as McKizzle and Dean Wysocki, as is Tech Leader. So for Daz here, he's got the chance of getting a few extra places. Bernie Ernie was also in the McLaren, so I can add that to the car stats as well. There we go.
Meanwhile, Smokey still... Smokey has found a way past Dean, but I feel like it's... held him up more than anything, but either way, he has managed to work his way past Dean. Regarding the other gaps, there's really nothing happening now. It's all kind of spread out quite evenly, and this gives me a great opportunity to say that first things first, you want to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss a single thing here at Simplay Motorsport. And Christmas is coming very soon. I know Matt's going to decide now I've said
Yes!
it, but Christmas is coming soon. So if you want to start sorting out gifts and stuff for your family members, then look down in the link below where you can look at Design Manchester that do fantastic engravement gifts and printed clothing as well. So get involved in whatever they produce so that you can have a fantastic gift for them. And if you also look down below, there's also Audio Sports, and they do fantastic T4 and Volkswagen audio solutions. So if you fancy a new set of speakers in your T4 or transporter to go for the new year onto your camping trips to Monza to watch the Grand Prix or anything like that, or the GT3s or whatever, then get yourself all set up and ready to go for the new year. And also, if you do want to be a part of anything here at Simplay Motorsport, then head over to the SimGrid. PS4 version is still available for GT4s, AM, Pro-Am and Pro.
I hate to interrupt you, Dean Wysocki has left the lobby. So that will be a qualifying plan for Dean Wysocki then. Also, if you are interested, if you have kids and are interested in Christmas gifts, Design Manchester do fantastic Christmas gifts. Smoky Devil in the pit lane just before the pit window ends. I've just placed an order for 3 Christmas boxes. So yeah, that's Christmas Eve boxes, should I say? So yeah. Fantastic, good quality as well. Fury, 6.5 off the back of Porto, but there's big damage to his car. Wolfinator doesn't look like he repaired the damage to his car, but he's nowhere near. Pien's running P5. Dean Wysocki is now retired. McKizzle is back in the pits. That's her race done and dusted pretty much.
Lessons to be learned here, especially with the new PS5 version. A lot of things have changed from the PS4 to the PS5, and obviously a lot of these people are still trying to get, especially some of our regular drivers, are trying to understand and learn the new cars, but with doing so, that does hamper their chances of going back to their normal cars and possibly getting their setups all wrong and confusing, especially if you drive something very similar. So yeah, we'll see how some of these guys get on later on this week at Laguna Seca for the next round of the season. GT4's first, as I'm looking forward to getting in the Camaro and bouncing over the corkscrew.
Home circuit for the Camaro.
Yep, very much so, and it's going to look glorious when bouncing over curbs. When I say bouncing, I mean ploughing.
Ploughing through the curbs, like the Bentley in a way. Right, so Sven leads this race. If you've forgotten who is leading, it's Sven from Porto. 8 seconds is the gap. Porto, though, could be facing an investigation for pit exit cut. Fury is then third, not repaired his damage. Still has the fastest lap of this race with Wolfinator P4. PM running in a good P5. The Cranky Duckhead's P6. DJ Phil is P7. Dean is P8. That is Dean 3879. Alpha P9 with Smoky Devil down in 10th place. That pit stop has really cost Smoky. Hypertech 11th. And just proving... Off. Ah, there we go. So he's had a moment at the Lesmo.
He straight lined the second chicane, and now he's gone off at Lesmo 1 as well. So I'm not exactly sure what has happened to Smokey here.
Problems to Smoky Devil then. Also, an interesting one is one to mention is Daz and Tech Leader. Big damage early on in this race. They've kept going. They've gained Dean. They've passed McKizzle. They've gained places over Dean, Mutsnuts, and Bernie Ernie because of the fact that they've all retired. And they're running P12 and 13th. Just goes to show that when you carry on racing, there is still points to be had. McKizzle's still in the pit lane. She's badly damaged towards the back of the pack. Pack pretty spread out at the moment, Dan, so it's a chance really now to advertise what's coming up in the week. Tomorrow night, GT4s will be at Laguna Seca, as Dan said a moment ago. They will be taken to the track. It will be streamed as best as possible. There is 11 drivers for that, with a few more still to confirm. So that one will be streamed. AM will no longer be streamed due to the fact that we have got such high demand for Sunday evenings, and the fact that Sunday evenings provide us with good actual camera angles. Oh, Smokey's back in the pits here. So what has gone wrong there?
There's got to be some sort of pressure issues or something, because he's all over the shot. He hasn't been on track for most of that lap, so he's straight back into the pits. I'm not exactly sure what has happened to Smokey, but yeah, all sorts of problems for him.
All sorts of problems for him. So we are not going to be streaming AM on a Tuesday night. That will not be streamed. The only way the AM drivers will get a stream is if there's not enough Pro-Am drivers and we put them both on the same grid together. Pro-Am will be back for Wednesday night. That will be your Wednesday night stream, provided there is 10 or more drivers once again. Obviously, due to the fact that the camera angles are broken on the PS4, we are not streaming as much PS4 as we'd have liked due to the cameras not working. There was a problem with servers all weekend as Alpha's just gone way off as well at the second Lesmo. Tech Leader unlaps himself there. And I believe, who's that? That's PN who's put a lap on him. And Pro will be back Thursday evening again. 10 or more drivers required before we stream that. There's already 11 confirmed. So that one is golden. So yeah, not as many streams as we'd have liked. We've lost 3 drivers in tonight's race. McKizzle still in the pits. Smokey out the pits now. So hopefully he's got his stuff sorted that he's needed to sort. But Hypertech has got past him and cleared him by some margin. Daz will be unlapping him again soon. Fury's gap, I've noticed, is ebbing and flowing a little bit. It was down to 6.3 seconds a moment ago. It's now back up to 8.7.
I think Fury's really struggling with that front end damage. I think he's trying to hang in there, possibly for a penalty coming Porto's way.
Yeah.
But we will see how he gets on. But I really do think that even though he's out of the 10-second window now, he's not going to gain nothing. Even if Porto does get a penalty, Porto will still hang on to that second place.
The rule was changed this year, wasn't it, Dan? For, last year it was slam dunk 30-second and a penalty point. A few people felt that was too harsh, and it had, depend on how much time they gained. So it's really going to be on what he's gained at this stage of the season, isn't it? It could just be a penalty point and no time penalty, because at Monza, are you going to gain anything when you're not up to speed?
Yeah, exactly. And it's really going to affect these guys later on in the season. And the rules are rules at the end of the day, no matter what. And I think right now, Fury, with the damage he's carrying on that BMW, it's a losing fight right now. And if anything, he's just he's got a decent gap to Wolfinator. He ain't going to catch the 2 in front. The other 2 are quite easily out in front. An hour's long race, and this is the thing. Anything can happen. A lot of these drivers are treating it like it's a sprint race, and others are treating it like an endurance race. Sven taking his time, working his way through the traffic, picking the right time to pit, and here he is. He's leading the race. Wolfinator, mind his own business. Yes, he got caught up in all the issues earlier on, but he's been on his own pretty much the entire time. PN Motorsport, another one, taking his time, worked this through the pack, as did DJ Phil and Cranky Duckhead.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the others all too busy tripping over and racing like it's lap 1.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest problem for all these other drivers. Daz now a lap behind Smokey Devil. Tech Leader's on the same lap as Daz, but way behind. McKizzle's a few laps down, but she's back out on track. Porto not had the pace. He took pole position. He's not had the pace since to get on the back. One thing we need to mention as well for this week is there's a few milestones for certain things this week regarding not drivers but certain cars. Ginetta this week will make its 200th race appearance, and with the fact that we're adding this this PS5 version now, it gives a chance for other cars to also get wins, pole positions. Like we said, McLaren's now got its 52nd pole position. Other cars, other manufacturers can get on that stats page, as well as the fact that the driver stats will be affected as Porto comes to line. Fury's lap time now, with the track getting a little warmer as the day goes on. Obviously, it was at 8 o'clock in the morning this race started. Track's gone up to 16 degrees. If people have changed tyres and are running lower fuel now, I'm surprised that Fury's fastest lap hasn't been beaten at the moment.
Yeah, I think as well, people are getting to a stage now where they're all quite happy and content. Fury probably putting a banger of a lap time as well. So I don't really think that, unless you see it right at the very end, maybe Porto or Sven has something. But Porto at the minute in traffic, E. McKizzle's come back out on track, and you're not going to get easy lap times when you're having to clear traffic as well. So earlier on in a race where they're all relatively close to one another and spread out evenly, now everyone's here, there and everywhere. It's difficult to get that clean air and beat that lap time. Fury is the only one at the minute that I can see that's in relatively clean air, other than a few others further down. But Tech Leader is the other one who's pretty much on his own, but obviously not doing the lap times that the boys at the front are doing. Yeah,
Daz has a bit of clear air before he gets to car 46, and car 46 without a Smoky Devil. But Daz, again, is not able to do them lap times. For Fury, he'd have loved a race win here, because he is the joint most successful driver at this track. He has the most wins to go with his 2 pole positions. The other driver that's joint with him in terms of 5 accolades at Monza is that of Holty, 3 poles and 2 wins, so the opposite to Fury. But obviously Porto gets on that list with a pole position to his... pole position to his name. I've put him down as a win. Whoops, apologies. pole position. He joins Louis Allen, AH, Mazda, Baraba, Stelsloff, all on 1 pole position. No wins. You've got Danlick, who's had 1 win, no poles. JM Grill, a pole and a win. Emo Guy, a pole and a win. De Silva and Wolfenator, 1 win apiece. Ripper, 1 pole and 2 wins. Dan, you've got 2 poles, 2 wins. DJ Phil, 2 race wins here. Gary, 2 race wins here, no poles. Myself, 2 wins, 2 poles. So, stats on offer. Fury, the most successful driver at this track. He'd have loved to be the outright most successful driver. Just not going to happen today. For Wolfenator, though, let's speak about Wolfenator. In the Porsche, you obviously love the Porsche 992. You've always been a big lover of the Porsche. Your 3 Pro Championships came in the Porsche. Just talk us through how that Porsche would have handled with that big damage he had, because it took him a while to, to get through the track, to the pits before he decided to pit. What would that damage have been like?
Well, in general, I do like anything that's owned by Volkswagen. So I actually own a Volkswagen car. So to me, anything Volkswagen would be a good car. So Audi, Porsche, and Lamborghini, all very, very good cars to pick. Even a Bentley, strangely enough. I've obviously done a league away from Simple A on the PC with this particular car as well, the Porsche 992. And the old 991 was very twitchy, or the 9912. Yeah, that's what it's called. It was very twitchy. The rear end was very loose, and it was difficult to keep stable. And when you did get it right, it was easily the fastest car on the PS4 league. A little bit sluggish in a straight line, but again, the engine, unlike most cars on this game, is either front engine rear wheel drive, or it's mid engine rear wheel drive. And the Porsche is the only one on its own that is rear engine rear wheel drive. You could call it still technically mid-engine if you really wanted to, but it is rear engine. The engine's right in the rear, and the weight balance is very tricky to get right at times, but once you do nail it, the car is beautifully balanced once you get it in that perfect window. And I think as well, it's all depending on its downforce and balance, really. And if you've got rear end damage, I think Wolfenator might be struggling a little bit with the rear end damage, and he would just be wanting to try and keep it facing in a straight line right now. He's got quite a comfortable gap over PN Motorsport, who's in the second chicane while he's heading towards Parabolica. He has got a very frustrated Smokey Devil flying up behind him, so you might think, well, you can go ahead, Smokey, I don't want to trip over you.
I think he's letting him go now, Dan, actually, because Smokey pulls to the inside. Wolfenator has nothing to do with Smokey Devil going up the inside. Smokey, who's 10 seconds off the back of Hypertech, gets through, and Smokey, like you say, frustrated and wanting to be a bit racy in terms of catching the Ferrari of Hypertech down. But yeah, the Porsche, obviously, the 992, a lot better than the 991. Like you said, you've just driven it in a league not long back on the PC. Does the 992 make the Porsche even more competitive, or do you feel that with the likes of the M4, the Audi Evo 2, the Lamborghini Evo 2 and the McLaren Evo, that the Porsche has kind of been pulled back into sort of a bit of a pack now? We know that the 991 can be a dominant car. Do you feel that the 992 is still that dominant car, or do you feel that the others have caught the Porsche up now?
I wouldn't say it's a dominant. I wouldn't say there's one dominant car. I think they're all relatively evenly spread, especially depending on what circuit you're at. If I was here, it would be possibly a Honda or an Audi that I'll be looking at, just because of the straight line speed. Maybe a Mercedes as well, just because of the power. The M4 is one of those cars that's very much all well-rounded. It can go anywhere and race anywhere, no problem. I think as well, it just depends on the car and driver, really.
Yeah.
You could take it anywhere, like you could take it to Monza and you know, you set it up right. It's going to be very slow in a straight line. It's not the best in a straight line, but it's fantastic in the corners. So the middle sector, you'll gain all that time, but then you lose it in the second and the first and the third. So again, it's trying to balance that out and try and find what suits most people. Again, I always say it, Matt, when we have these kind of conversations, I take mine and your driving style. It's very different. I like a car with a bit more rear end, while you prefer a car more front end. So that's why you tend to go for the front engine cars, while I go for the more rear engine. So it all varies from different drivers to different scenarios to different steering wheels to different pads. It is very much, this is what the great thing about motorsport and sim racing. You can customize, you can change, you can do anything to kind of suit your style, and the variety of cars and the variety of options that are available can suit anyone. You know, Overtaker is a perfect and prime example. He can race pretty much on any car with a pad. you know, and it's fantastic to see, you know. And then you got Ripper, who's in an Audi, who can then drive the Porsche like it's nothing and be doing the lap times that
And the
he
Honda.
does, you know.
And the
It's
Honda as
and the
well.
Honda.
He dipped in the Honda, didn't he?
Same in that, and you know, it all depends on the driving style that you prefer. I do think the difference between the M6 and the M4 is massive. I think the M6 is a very tricky car to get right and dialed in perfectly. Smokey somehow in the Pro-Am season nailed it, and then in the Pro, it's just completely collapsed.
Oh, he's gone! Hypertech, apologies Dan, Hypertech was putting a lap on his fellow friend Dean and has lost it through the second chicane. A big twitch, he's gone round again, he's not able to get this straight, and Smokey Devil was absolutely hassling him and hunting him down, got the gap to 5.9 and has now got past. Daz has also unlapped himself from Hypertech, but I don't think Daz is getting anywhere near. While you were saying that, and I'm just, before I let you finish off, Tech Leader is bringing the gap down to Daz. That's down to 16 seconds, so we'll keep our eyes on that gap, as well as Cranky Duckhead, 8.8 off the back of PM.
5 minutes ago, I don't really see Tech Leader getting near Daz unless Daz decides to put it in the wall. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. But yeah, again, like I say, it all depends on how the driver and the car suits one another, and that's why testing and trying these cars. And I don't mean like go out and do 5 laps. I mean really, really test it. Know what you like, know what kind of brands you like, and go out and test it, and then see if you genuinely gel with it. I remember when we first started racing on ACC and Matt, the first car I tested was the Porsche. No, it was the Porsche, and I could not drive it. Could not drive it at all.
Bearing in mind,
never raced it.
This is after you've come off the back of 3 championships on Project Cars 2. Yes, all right, the last car you drove on Project Cars 2 was the Audi. After you had the season off, come back in the Audi for the final season of Pro. But from Project Cars 2 to ACC, the Porsche, such a different car.
Yeah, agreed. And then ended up, you guys suggested running the Aston Martin. I drove the Aston Martin for a couple of rounds and actually enjoyed driving it, learned the game, learned and got the hang of this game, and now it's the Lamborghini and the Audi were the 2 that I've been known to drive now. So it is just learning.
Was Lamborghini for yourself and Fiore. You come back in the Ret. You obviously took a year out last year to do Pro. For streaming purposes, you come back in the AM category to run the Ret here. Obviously, just something to put you on the AM guys' pace, being a 6-time champ. And then obviously now you're in the Audi. Next season, if we're on the PS5 version, more than likely back to the 992 Porsche. But I'm sure there's other cars that you'll possibly give a go before you make that final decision.
Who knows? Anything can happen. You know me, I like to drive something different. This season, I haven't really done that, but from this week onwards, I won't be in the Audi. I'll be changing car, just to make it a bit more interesting.
Just gone to check Sven and Porto. Sven just ran a little wide on exit there, dipped a wheel into the gravel. 3.5 minutes left. Porto's 5.9 behind. But he's just had a big wiggle through the first Lesmo. I was just about to say, is he going to gain on Sven if Sven's tyres are going off? Well, he has his moment himself. More importantly, Porto has taken that fastest lap away from Fiore.
He has indeed. We haven't even noticed that, but fastest lap has been taken away. And the gaps at the minute, other than the top 2, that's really your closest fight on track. Everyone else is either a lap down or at least 30 seconds away from one another. Daz has crossed the start-finish line, and Tech Leader's only now exiting Parabolica. That was the only other fight that was really close, with 6.1 between the top 2 and possibly only 2 more laps to go, with Sven doing a brilliant job of figuring out the strategy, getting the clean air and jumping the 2 in front of him.
Great call. And obviously we ran the small mini series of PS4 back last year, where we had 6 races in the off-season event where we ran the PS4 version of ACC before making that jump to it. Same here, toward end of the year, with some actual streaming on the channel is the main reason we sort of went to the PS5 version, to get some actual streams on. Porto got down to 5.5 to Sven now, but Sven, really, he's got this lap and the next lap ready to nail and get it absolutely bang on, and he could be taking his first win, and the first win for the new Ferrari 296, a first win for him. If he wins in that Ferrari, that'll be only Ferrari's that's pole position. That'll be Ferrari's 12th win. And you do feel that if we go to this PS5 version, the 296 could get a lot more wins than just the 11 it's already had.
Yeah, definitely so. The new Ferrari is a very good car. But I think The thing I have with the Ferrari is that it looks good, it sounds good, but I think it's a little bit overrated in my opinion. I don't think it's all that. I think it's got there's something about it for me that has a little bit of issues here and there, and it's a little bit too much of a safe-ish option. But if I was honestly looking to sign up and race in this league, it may be the Porsche, but I would be strongly looking at another car to be racing in to be competitive anyway.
Lamborghini Evo.
The Evo 2 would definitely be the one that would be the favourite, or the Audi Evo 2 as well is also a car that's very, very good. So either the Lamborghini or the Audi would be the two options for me.
M4,
and the Porsche.
Potentially, oh yeah, obviously Porsche M4 an option. Obviously we've done a few endurance events on the PC on the M4. It seems obviously a good car, and the PS5 version of the game is obviously up to the scratch of the PC at the moment until the latest update comes out, which PS5 will get later than PC.
Yeah, for me the M4's boring. It's
Fair
too
enough.
Predictable, it's too safe, it's too easy to drive.
Oh,
77,
no.
drive through penalty.
Well, that puts to bed that battle. If it was ever to develop, I don't think it would have done, but that puts to bed that. Tech leader with a drive-through penalty. McKizzle's going to be way too far behind. Driver of the day poll has been out for quite a while now. Get your votes in as we're on the final lap of the race. Currently, Sven and Fury are the only two to receive votes for driver of the day. The vote is going towards Sven, but Porto has that gap down to 3.7 at the start line. Through Sector 1, the gap's down to 3.5. It's too big for Porto to do outright on pace. But a little mistake from Sven. As I say that, Porto drops a wheel in the gravel every time we seem to mention it. 32 laps. We're going to end this race on 33 laps. That is a lot of laps to do in an hour around Monza. And to say it's getting later in the day, it looks like it's got darker.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that long. I mean, I've just tuned into an endurance race that did 24 hours around Suzuka. So the 32 laps around Monza, I think it's pretty low numbers to be fair.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, these boys, boys and girls, have all been putting the time in ready for this championship, and looks like Sven has the one come on top of it all.
Yeah, I thought
I
thought Sven was lagging out there. Could you imagine a disconnection at that stage of the race? My days.
God.
Sven, though, comes up towards the Parabolica, and on the PS5 version, he's going to be our first winner of the PS5 era. It is going to be Sven who will win his first race. And what a race that will be for him. He comes to the line now, and Sven wins round one of the season. It's going to be Porto who will come home for P2, and Fury will get P3, or should get P3, should hang on to P3 at the end. And obviously points a lot different this year for these drivers, so that's the other big difference as well. As Fury flashes the lights, you see the green smoke. He's going to come to the line. He's going to finish P3 as PN finishes P5. Good outing for PN, first of all.
It is indeed. Like I said, kept his nose clean, P5. The only person who was ahead of him was the Wolfinator and obviously the top three. So I think PN will walk away relatively happy as Cranky Duck Head had come home in 6th place position. And a great drive from DJ Phil. Kept his nose clean, kept it all together, and he's come home with a solid P7.
He has come home with a solid P7. He's done absolute bits there as DJ Phil. P7 for him on the track before car 11 will be the next car to line. That is going to be Alpha, who looks like he's going to take a P9. Smokey Devil's actually charged onto the back of him. Only 6.9 behind. You wonder how long it would have took Smokey to gain on him. So get the Parabolica right, and that could be that place done. But yeah, he's absolutely nailed it. No mistakes there. So that is going to be P9 for Alpha. It's going to be P10 for Smokey Devil in this one. Not the race he'd have wanted. 186 of Wolfinator is going to be the next man to cross the line. He's back on the Simplay channel. He's going to come home for that P4. Daz Automatic then crosses the line for P12. Next car to the line will be the 296 of Dean. On his first race, he is going to cross the line in P8 before 77 crosses the line with the Audi of E. McKizzle. So Tech Leader will cross in 13th place. McKizzle will cross in P14. And then the rest of your results is Dean Wasocki, DNF, Bernie Ernie, DNF. Just looking, Keegs was not here. Philippe wasn't here. And I need to figure, Muchnuts DNF'd as well. And I need to figure out who is who. Hypertech, actually. Where did Hypertech finish? In that, missed Hypertech's finishing position there. It was P...
13.
11. P11.
Hypertech, sorry, 11. Yeah, I was looking at
Hypertech
Tech
11.
Leader.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Dan, that was the first race. We are joined in the comments box by Fury. We'll figure out the other guys' nationalities for next week and get them in. We'll speak with Joe, though, for now, as he is here in the podium with us. Joe, third place, good pace in that BMW, though. It just wasn't to be tonight.
No, the BMW felt amazing around there. Like, I mean, I was getting fastest lap after fastest lap at the start. Then pitted, tires were a bit skew with. Then coming up to laps and back markers, gone to a little fender bender, and yeah, 17 seconds of damage, and kind of put an end to that, really.
Yeah, put an end to it. You obviously had the fastest lap for a while. That then was taken away from you as well. Just a shame, really, because you had good pace.
Yeah, I mean, the BMW felt amazing around there. Though that Porto and that McLaren, he was giving me a hell of a fight for a while. And the Ferrari it didn't seem like it had the legs around here compared to the BMW and the McLaren.
Obviously, you've driven the Ferrari in a couple of 3 hours endurance events recently. Did you feel that you knew what the Ferrari's capabilities was? Was you surprised at the tactic that Sven had pulled?
The tactic he pulled was a very good one, considering he was about 4 seconds behind me before the pits and came out 3.5 in front. But I mean, yeah, he's good. It reminds me of the Ripper, honestly. Every single time Ripper pits, he comes out in front.
Obviously, Joe, we go to GT4s tomorrow night. Laguna Seca PS4 version. You've got a slender lead in that one. Can you keep hold of that slender lead? And what can you do around Laguna Seca in your BMW?
Obviously, a BMW is more of a speed than it is corner car, but I mean, I think I'll be alright. Get a good start. I think my main overtaking position is going to be the start finish straight, obviously with the power and everything the BMW has, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
See how it goes, indeed. And a word about Thursday night, McLaren, Laguna Seca again. What can you do around there?
Haven't really tested yet, but I've seen what Overtaker can do in that McLaren before, so
yeah,
should be fun.
Again, final words then. We go to Imola next week. We stay in Italy. We go to Imola. Going to be another cold one, it looks like. Can the BMW do a bit more around there? Obviously, they've only got the start straight as the real opportunity for overtaking to pull away. Can the BMW use its legs a little more?
Should be able to, I think. I mean, we've done some practicing around there. It should be alright. It's not a bad car, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. Joe, congratulations tonight. Dan, final words from yourself?
It's been a great night's worth of racing. Needs to pick up in the middle bit. It's a little bit, a lot of space has been made, but we'll see how the boys and girls get on next week at Imola for the next round of the season. One of my all-time favourites of the calendar that we have. British circuits, they suck, so don't worry about them too much. Yeah, good night for the boys, especially Sven. Best way to start his season, and we'll see how all these guys get on at Imola.
Indeed, we will. It's GT4 action tomorrow night. Can Fury take another win? Can Dan get back to winning ways? And who else will be able to upset the apple cart as we head to Laguna Seca? We're in California for the GT4's race, round 13 and 14 there as we come to the back end of the championship. It's a 2-horse race at the moment. We then head Wednesday night to the Pro-Am category where Dan looks to put one hand's firmly on it. He looks to grab it with both hands sooner rather than later. Can he do that? He's changing to the Aston Martin. What will he be able to do in that car? And Dan Davis and PM Motorsport, Dan Davis, sorry, apologies, I don't know. We've got to have a chat about this one after. I don't know if Kelly's back or what's happening yet. But Dan Davis will be in the commentary box at least on Thursday night for the action in the Pro Series around Laguna Seca as well. We'll be back next Sunday night, myself and Dan. We have the microphone issue sorted. We know the problems with that. We are good to go for Imola next week, which should be an absolutely cracking race. Don't forget, hit that bell to be notified when we go live. The thumbs up button on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And like Dan said earlier, if you want any of your Christmas gifts, head down into that description box. Go to Design Manchester for any Christmas gifts, personal engraved gifts, all sorts. Mike Matthews will sort you out there. He's a great guy. And also check out Audio Sports in there for any T4, T5. Dan, you're going to have to help me out with this one.
T4, T5 audio solutions for any speakers or door pockets or anything that you want to improve on your transporter, then head over to audiosport.co.uk.
There we go. We've been Simplay. Wow, I cannot speak after this weekend. We've been Simplay Motorsport.
So are you sure you're the professional commentator here?
Hey, I've just come back from a weekend of doing this. I got the wrong driver's name who won on the Friday night. Didn't I? Called him his brother. Either way, we've been Simplay Motorsport. Thank you all for watching the first PS5 race. We'll see you tomorrow night. Goodbye.
Good night.
We've been Simplay Motorsport. Thank you all for watching the first PS5 race. We'll see you tomorrow night. Goodbye. Good night.
Hello.
Right, we're out. PM, we are out. He signed up with not his fucking PSN name, the dickhead, so no wonder I couldn't put him down as race winner. What a penis.
Right, shut my stream down. P5, that was a surprise.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, P5.
Well, other than Smokey with an unsafe rejoint into the side of my car.
Who got fastest lap? It was Porto, wasn't it? So 2
Porto.
points. I'll do that.
I heard you mentioned the orange lights on my grill.
Yeah, we noticed you had the auxiliary lights going. Much Luke Roth, Philippe, High Live. Dean Wasaki Bernie did not score. So because of the pole position and the fastest lap, Sven leads by 2 points on 55 because the points have had to be extended. Although, when I started inviting everybody, it said you can invite up to 40 people.
10 in spectator, maybe?
Ah, fuck knows. It just said 1 of 40 when I sent the invite because I was the one in the lobby. So it said like 1 out of 40. And so, bearing in mind, do you remember that FRL event we did on the Sunday night? When they put Pro Am and Pro... There was 34 cars. So I'm wondering if you can have more. Which means if you can have 40 drivers as well as spectators, when we use the G Portal server thing, if you can have 40 drivers and 4 spectators, maximum of 4 spectators, there will be just one stream a fucking week in terms of GT3s.
Yeah.
Fuck. Right. Back out of that. May as well close that, in fact. Stop my personal stream.